I love it when people send me a message with some information that I get to look up. It is so cool to learn a little bit more every day. So L states that the home prices were 1 to maybe 1.5 times your salary in the mid 1970s. So I looked it up. Historical data tells us that it's really more like 2 to 3 times your annual salary. One thing I think it's really important to note also is that expectations were completely different at that time. The people at that time were perfectly willing to go into a starter home. And I would suggest that people who are getting out of college and want their first house or are in their early 30s expect to have their parents' fourth or fifth house, not their starter house. That said, let's take a really hard look at the 1970s and the mid 1970s in particular. So let's see, we had a median income of $9,870 to be exact in 1970, and that is from the census.gov website, so you can look that up yourself. 1975 median income was roughly 14,000 to 14,500 depending on the region, also from census.gov. So a reasonable nationwide midpoint would be about $14,000 median household family income. Now, the median home price in the mid 1970s was $32,000 to $33,000 in 1975 specifically. So let's do the math. You would take $33,000 divided by $14,000, and that gives you a ratio of 2.3. So it's 2.3 times your salary for a home purchase at that time. So why does the one-time salary memory still exist? People often remember homes costing about a year's salary, but that comes from different comparisons. Single wage versus household income, first of all. Many households had one primary earner, but the statistics use family or household income. So psychologically, one worker's pay felt like the salary, even though two incomes or total household earnings were counted in affordability metrics. And now we get to my point, which is homes were smaller in the 1970s. We had smaller square footage, fewer amenities, built on cheaper land relative to the wages, and mortgage underwriting also targeted lower payment ratios, reinforcing affordability. Now, mortgage rates also matter. In the mid 1970s, mortgage rates were rising 7 to 9% and then climbing later. So affordability wasn't effortless, but prices relative to income were still low compared with today. So to your point, Elle, so here's a historical comparison. 1970, the median income was $98.70. The median home price was $23,000 to $26,000. So that was 2.3 to 2.6% of the salary. So that ratio. 1975, 14,000 was the median income. Median home price was 33,000. So about 2.3 to 2.5. And in 1983, was about 3 times. So it was rising, and now you're right, it's about 5 times actually, not 4 times, but 5 times. But I would say that also has to do with the expectations again of having a much larger house, many more amenities than the homes had in the 1970s. If someone were willing to, and by the way, I do this all the time, have a starter home, you absolutely could afford it. But most people want the $5, $6, $7, $800,000 house as their first house, and that's just not how it was done back then. We bought a small house, we fixed it up with our own hands, and then we sold that for a profit and used that profit to buy a slightly larger house, and then we sold that house. And then we used that profit to buy a slightly larger house. And this happened over years. We did not have the best house upfront immediately.